today I'm making a Hungarian mushroom soup in my Thermomix using a Cookidoo recipe, and it did turn out great, but I am making some alternations to it because there was something that's just it's not in the Hungarian cuisine, so it made no sense. So starting with yellow onion, 7 ounce. When I took the top off, it recalculated to different measurements, so I had to set it back to 0. That happens sometimes. You can follow the same recipe and make it on the stove. You do not have to use a Thermomix. 1 ounce of unsalted butter and 1 ounce of all-purpose flour. 1 tablespoon smoked paprika. There we have it. Let me just measure that out. Beautiful. And then regular paprika. Now the next one, I actually bought this from Hungary on my last trip. It's basically just dried regular red paprika. So paprika, yeah, it's not spicy at all. Turmeric. No, Hungarians don't use turmeric in. First, it's gonna chop everything up and mix it all together. This is great because you don't really have to do much. You just put in the ingredients and let it do its job. But it's also useful to know how it works so you can like redo something. Right now it's saying to scrape down the sides, and then this is gonna go into saute without the lid, and it's supposed to heat itself up, and the setting is for 3 minutes. And by the time it was done, it's not cooked enough because it wasn't hot enough, so I felt like it needs more time. So I put the lid back on and I'm going back and redoing it again, but setting the timer to 4.5 minutes because I really wanted to cook through. I just feel like it wasn't hot enough for those 3 minutes. So we're gonna do it again, and look at that. Perfect, that's what I want. Beautiful. And now mushrooms, 18-ounce chopped, cut up mushrooms. It's gonna chop it off into smaller pieces when the soup is cooking. So, bare minimum work for you. Perfect. Without measuring cup, we're gonna start cooking this baby for 10 minutes, and it's already hot, so I think 10 minutes should be enough. And look how beautiful it is. It's really so time saving to have a Thermomix. Now white wine, no, I don't feel like we need white wine for this, so I'm skipping it. Cook for another 3 minutes, that's fine. And then we're gonna add more stuff to it, but it did cook the mushrooms very nicely. The cookie dough recipe follows water, 18 ounce of water with broth paste. If you don't have broth paste, but you have broth, just add broth, 12 ounce of vegetable broth or chicken or beef, whatever you have at home. Unless you are a vegetarian, then use vegetable broth, but my favorite is this one. This is actually chicken broth paste, and I love it because it will last in the fridge for months. It doesn't last me months because I use it so much, but they have different flavors. They also have vegetable stock, puree, and like different flavoring, and they also have beef. I also have beef in the pantry right now, but we're sticking with chicken broth. And then dried dill, 1.5 teaspoon dried dill. You can also use fresh dill, but dried dill is just easier to find in stores because dill is not very popular in the American cuisine. So that's how much I added. And then we are gonna add some tomato paste. I found this really cool tomato paste in a tube, so I don't have to open like a can or a little box, and it's very useful. So 1 tablespoon of that, kind of just eyeballing it. And this one is piros arany. I brought it from Hungary. You don't have to put it in, but I had it in the fridge. So it's basically a concentrated pepper paste that's also salty and vinegary, so it's a little bit sour too. I'm just adding a couple of drops. You don't have to do it. I love it. It's very tasty, I think. And then lemon juice, 2 teaspoons, but since I already added that paste, which is a little sour, I'm skipping the lemon juice and also skipping the salt because my broth has a lot of salt in it. 1/4 teaspoon ground black pepper. Honestly, you can just eyeball it how much you want. Now, this is something I still have not figured out why Thermomix is saying to put the simmering basket on top. Maybe it's to prevent it from the water evaporating too much. Anyone else who used Thermomix, do you know if I can just skip this part? Because I have done it and it didn't make any difference. I've skipped it, I put it on, didn't make any difference. But this time I'm just gonna play it safe and put it on. Now this is gonna cook for 15 minutes and it's looking beautiful, smells amazing. I'm actually shocked that I didn't put any garlic in it, but it was delicious. And this came out to 4 servings. Top it with some sour cream and some greens if you have any at home. The sour cream is gonna make it creamy. It's a very, very, very tasty and very hearty and is so delicious. I will definitely be making this soup again with a little bit of less smoked paprika, but it is delicious because I always have mushrooms at home. I think this is a really easy, hearty, filling recipe to make.